Okay, so we all know Instagram, right? It's that endless, perfect-looking highlight reel of everyone's life. But what if there's a whole other story hiding just behind that glossy filter? Today, we're going to dig into the documented and often invisible impacts of the platform. So let's peel back that filter and see what's really going on.
And really, it all boils down to this one simple question. What's the real cost of a perfect photo? As you're about to see, the answer is way more complicated and honestly, way more fascinating than you might think.
All right, so here's how we're going to break it down. We're going to start by peeling back the first layer, the personal cost to you. Then we'll get into the pretty serious safety and security risks. And finally, we'll zoom all the way out to look at the massive systemic impact it has on, well, all of us.
Okay, first up, let's talk about you. Let's focus on the direct psychological effects that Instagram can have on every single one of its users.
Let's start with a pretty stark number, 1 in 3. Now, what does that mean?
Well,
it means 1 in 3 teen girls. And this isn't some outside study. This comes from Instagram's own internal research that got leaked. It confirmed the platform makes body image issues worse. A huge part of this is something called social comparison. You know, that constant nagging feeling that your life just doesn't measure up to the perfect ones you see on your screen.
And this isn't just an abstract idea, It has some really bizarre real-world consequences. Plastic surgeons are actually seeing a rise in something they've dubbed Snapchat dysmorphia. This is where people literally ask for surgery to make them look more like their own filtered photos. We're talking a total distortion of reality.
And here's the kicker. None of this is an accident. The platform is engineered to hook you. Things like the infinite scroll, which never gives you a reason to stop, and the unpredictable rush you get from a like. It's all designed to create these little dopamine loops that keep you checking and checking and checking again. And the scale here is just staggering. Over 17% of the entire world's population is considered at risk for social media addiction.
So you've got these risks that are literally built into the app's DNA. But that's only half the story. There are also huge dangers that come from the outside. And that brings us right to our next section, external threats.
Which brings us to our second big theme, the direct threats to your safety, your security, and your data privacy that exist on the platform.
Okay, get a load of this number, 17.5 million. And no, that's not the number of likes on a cat video. That's how many users had their personal data scraped and exposed in just one security incident. So how'd this happen? Well, attackers used a technique called API scraping. You can think of it like a digital vacuum cleaner to just suck up personal data like emails, phone numbers, and full names from millions of accounts. And where does that data go? It often ends up for sale on the dark web, creating a huge risk for identity theft and targeted scams.
But the risks go way beyond just your data. For younger users, the danger can be, it can be a lot more personal. And that leads us to this next number, 1 in 8.
Let's put that in perspective. According to Instagram's own data, 1 out of every 8 users under 16 gets an unwanted, sexually charged advance every single week. Just let that sink in for a second. It's become a routine danger for kids using the platform.
And sometimes, believe it or not, the platform itself becomes the risk. Ever heard of shadowbanning? It's when the algorithm basically makes you invisible. It hides your content from other people, but here's the crazy part. It never tells you it's happening. There's no notification, no explanation. For creators trying to build an audience, especially from marginalized communities, it can be devastating to suddenly have your voice silenced.
All right, so now let's zoom out, like way out. We're going to look at the platform's huge, systemic, and often hidden footprint on our society and, well, our world.
You know how the algorithm is always designed to show you more of what you already like? Sounds pretty harmless, right? The problem is, this creates what we call echo chambers. You get trapped in this little bubble of similar ideas and opinions, which just reinforces your own beliefs and makes it harder to understand other perspectives. It's a recipe for the kind of social and political division we see all around us.
Then you've got the whole economy that exists inside of Instagram. And a massive chunk of it, it's a complete illusion. A multi-billion-dollar illusion, to be exact.
So, welcome to the wild world of influencer fraud. Here's how it works. Millions of accounts out there are just bots. Influencers then buy these fake followers and fake likes to make themselves look way more popular than they actually are. Why? Because that fake popularity helps them score huge brand deals. It's a whole industry built on pure deception.
But believe it or not, the personal, social, and economic costs, they aren't even the whole story.
There is one last massive, totally hidden impact, and I guarantee it's one you've probably never even thought about. It's the environmental cost. Yeah, you heard that right. Think about it. All those billions upon billions of photos and videos, they have to live somewhere. The gigantic data centers that power Instagram are projected to use an incredible amount of electricity. We're talking as much as entire US states. That is an absolutely staggering hidden footprint.
So wow, after peeling back all these layers, from our own personal well-being all the way to the health of the planet, we're left with one final and I think really important question.
So, knowing the full picture now, the addictive design, the security risks, the social pressure, even the massive environmental toll, how does that change the way you scroll? That, right there, is the real question to think about.